Hey everybody, thanks for calling in. Thanks for tuning in and watching my episode. Yeah, so that's the College Hill Hospital. There was a few things I wanted to put in the episode, but thought I won't because I got a lot of stuff on camera. But then I thought Cassie and Jason are going to put together episodes, and one in particular involved Jason, so I thought, no, just let them do their thing. If it turns out that they don't put what I've got in their episodes, then I'll make another quickie. But yeah, I mainly wanted to concentrate on that story of Mose Blackburn. There was still a fair bit that I didn't put in about him as well. So if you've got any questions, you can ask. But personally, despite what happened, I don't think he was a bad man. But there you go. Yes, Wendy, you fell asleep and missed it, but that's okay. You can rewatch. Oh, that was that darn cat, wasn't it, Wendy? Let's see who's here. Oh, good. You've come over. Most of you come over. Hey, Tanya. I don't know if anybody saw my comment, and with who's in here, Wendy knows what I'm about to talk about, but with the people that are in here now, you may not have seen my community post. I've also, okay, Wendy, no worries. I've put as you know, I was going to come to America in September, but a few things have sort of happened my end, so I'm going to postpone it, but not by March, probably November. But the Paracon that I had booked to go to at the Moundsville prison in Kentucky, I purchased the VIP ticket. I have it. So if anyone lives nearby to Moundsville in Kentucky or whatever, go to my community page and let me know if you're interested, because I shall gift my VIP ticket to somebody so that they can go and see it if they would like. Just a second. Whoever's putting that pussycat back, would you mind taking the white one? Because the white one is getting very noisy.
I don't have the white one.
Oh, well, she's going to jump all over the place. Sorry, guys, it's a family event here.
I'm also about to go live. Excuse you.
Oh, bugger off then. Okay, so sorry about that interruption. I've got a white cat that I think most of you have seen, and the white pussycat has been jumping around here this morning. I walked in to my computer room. I've got a television, a big one, like a 60-centimeter TV on a proper thing. And well, somewhere in the middle of the night, one of the cats obviously decided to jump up behind it, probably had I don't know what they did. And it was on the floor. I don't know if it's broken. I haven't tried. We'll see. But yeah, so if anybody wants to let me know, let me know. But I'll just put it out there. No sense it going to waste. I can't get a refund. So I'm happy for someone who is interested in the paranormal to go there and check out Moundsville. Yes, so there you are. Who have I missed while I've been talking about a cat? Anybody? Cheryl's here, Stephanie, Wendy, Tanya, Cassie, Foxfire. Oh, Kathy, you're always in first. I always see Kathy. She'll be before my life. It'll just say Kathy Evans. Hi. So it's pretty cool. Yes, cats. Crow's having his hands full at the moment with his little pussy cats too. I don't know if Crow's come over. He might have gone to sleep. Bless him. Actually, Crow's got an episode shortly too. I'm not sure what time, but not right this second. But he does have a premiere this morning. Hey, Ron. I'm still working on the episode. Well, I haven't started working on it yet. The one I'm gonna, Ron and the facts, the water facts. You know what I'm talking about. Gosh. Well, I guess if no one's got any questions about the episodes that I put up, I might just talk about them anyway. The Silver Queen one I put up day before yesterday, I think. And please excuse my cat. I'm just going to ignore her. She won't like that much. Yeah, so the Silver Queen, if you haven't seen that episode, go watch it. It's not a long one, maybe 10, 15 minutes, I think. I researched that as best as I could. I actually wanted to find something on the so-called lady in the bathtub, but there's just nothing. There is absolutely no proof that I can find that that particular story ever took place. And in regard to Rose, the prostitute who decided to end it all in the bathtub in room 11, if you watch the episode, you'll know there were no bathtubs. There were no bathrooms. The hotel didn't have bathrooms. It did have a communal room. My friend Connie, who works at the hotel, not Connie, the owner of the Silver Queen, although she's a friend too, but Connie, who works in the hotel, she said that back in the day, on both levels, there was a communal bathroom. So on the level that Rose would have been in room 11, it would have been rooms 14 that were connected. So at the end of the hallway, there's room 14. And if you go into room 14, there's a big bathroom connected to it. Well, that was a communal bathroom. So that was sort of closed off. But anyway, no Rose. Look, to give it some hope, if it did happen that someone named Rose ended it, however you have to be nice about it here, if she did, let's say it did happen, firstly, it couldn't have happened in room 11. There was no bathtub. So she would have had to have taken herself to the communal bathroom and ended it there. Someone would have had to have found her in that bathroom. But then why say it was room 11? It doesn't make sense unless she was staying in room 11 when she did it and they found her in the communal bathroom. But it just seems awfully odd. So I don't know that story is factual. I would err more on the side of it's not. However, yeah, Foxfire, I know they did, but can't have been. And even the actual owner, so the current owner, Connie, she does tell that story, but I'm not sure why. I really don't. I don't know, and I haven't asked. But her dad, who purchased the hotel, he was interviewed, and even my friend Connie, who's worked there since he owned it, said there were no bathrooms. He put them all in, so that the bathtubs that you see in the bedrooms now were all put in by Connie's dad. So the bathtubs were installed, as were the little shower recesses in some of the rooms. So some of those rooms have a bathtub and the toilet, and some have no bathtub and they have like a little cubicle shower thing. So that was all put in by Connie's dad. Tiny was his nickname. So I'm sorry, I just don't think there was ever there may have been a Rose. Something could have happened to a Rose in the hotel. I don't know, but the bathtub story is absolutely not possible. Unless it happened relatively not long ago, which is not what the story is. The story says it was the 1800s. That's when it was supposed to have happened, and it just simply couldn't have. Not the way it's told anyway. Let's see, in case I'm Foxfire. Oh, look, it's hard to say really about ghost adventures and all that sort of thing, because as anyone knows in here who's gone to investigate, and look, I'll tell you something else in a minute, I'll get to it, but anyone who goes to investigate, you're shown through a property generally by an owner or by someone on behalf of the owner. So you get told stories. It's up to you as the investigator to either go along with what they're telling you and go, oh, really? Geez, that's, and then therefore elaborate on their stories. But if you're a real investigator, if you're a proper investigator, the word investigator means something. So don't go to these places and take the owners of the home's word as gospel. Listen and consider, but then research it. Research it yourself. So go through and ask questions, get your evidence, and then go back, research the place properly, and then go, okay, Well, I got someone who said John. I never got a Rose name, but I got a John. Oh, and look at the research. Someone called John passed away in one of the rooms at the Silver Queen. And then, exactly, Foxfire research. Let's have a look. Wendy, I've seen people videotaping while in the tub. Then Tanya says, what side have you been watching? OnlyFans. But look, if you go back to watch, yeah, Wendy, some guy with a beard. If you go back and watch my episode, if you get time, a few things did happen there. So, and the Silver Queen wasn't always a Silver Queen. It was called the Capital Saloon, old Capital Saloon. Oh, point of interest, there was an old Capital Saloon in Gold Hill as well, and that was mainly for gambling, cards, and all that sort of thing. But where the Silver Queen bar is now, that was the old Capital Saloon. Above it was the Molinelli's hotel, and they actually went by in the newspapers. They called themselves the Molinelli's Lodging House, but it says hotel on the front of the building. But then later on, it's still separate. You can't get to the hotel from the bar, for example. The bar is a separate entity to the hotel above. But yeah, so when it was the old Capital Saloon, that's when a young man called Benjamin was shot and killed in the bar. So he died in the bar. He was shot through the head. So there's a story about that I put in my episode. He was a fireman. See, this is everything you research. When I researched, so he was a fireman. He was working in town as a fireman. So after he was murdered, the guy got acquitted. The one who killed him got acquitted. Shepherd was his name, I think, from memory. He was acquitted of the crime, and I don't know why, because Benjamin didn't even have a gun, but Shepherd did, and he chased him into the bar and shot him, an unarmed man. But he was acquitted of the crime. He didn't have to serve any time or hang, and Benjamin was given a proper fireman's funeral, like a parade and all that sort of thing. So Benjamin most definitely could be haunting the bar. That's possible. And then again, in my episode, the other documented death I could find was a man named John Mullen, who went to the hotel. He was crook. He had asthma. He got a couple of the rooms, apparently. I don't know why a couple. It just said a suite of rooms. They never specified which rooms. But he had a room and he passed away there. The asthma obviously killed him, and he was found the day that he was supposed to check out late that afternoon. So he definitely died in the hotel. Other deaths I cannot find. Nothing documented. Doesn't mean nobody else died. And if you watch my episode, that's where, when I was in Virginia City last, I found out about the owners of the old Capital Saloon back in the 50s, and they're the ones who changed the name of the hotel to the Silver Queen. So, and Allie was her actual name, but everyone called her Jerry. Allie is the one that you see in that big Silver Queen painting. So she had that commissioned. And because of that painting, that's why they changed the name of the bar and the hotel to the Silver Queen. But watch my episode, because I talk about her and what happened to her, and that was quite a bit gossipy, I guess. A bit gossipy, because it is said that she ended it herself in the apartment of the Silver Queen. Silver Queen has 4 apartments on the opposite side attached. And there's B Street and C Street apartments. So the B Street apartments are where Allie was said to have ended it. But watch my episode and make up your own mind as to what you think happened. I know what I think happened, but and I think most of the town think it happened, but you got to be careful, I suppose. Let's have a look. Anyone had any questions that I've missed? No, good. You're just all talking to each other, which is Wonderful. Anyone want a white ragdoll cat? She slept with me the other night, and I woke up 3 times to her on my face going, you know how I call it knitting. Bloody cat. So last night I had a peaceful sleep. No animals. Yeah, and I was gonna the old hospital on College Hill, which you watched this morning. That was interesting because when I did the research on Mo's, then I fell across all the other research. That's why I didn't bother talking about any other deaths in the hospital. I was going to talk about a nurse that was rushed to the hospital and from a car accident, and she's supposed to haunt and this and that and the other. And I thought, you know what, I could sit here and make a 10-hour episode about people that have died in the hospital. And I thought, what for? Tons of people die in a hospital. It's a hospital. No one, so but anyway, but I concentrated on Mo's because I know that's a big story when you go there. That's one they concentrate on telling you about. But the long and the short about Mo's is he lived in Pike County. So where the hospital is, it's called Minga County, and then Pike County is right next door. So he worked in the mines in Williamson, and he lived in Pike County, and he would have traveled in and out, and he would have more than likely known all of those policemen because the policeman that was killed also worked in the mines originally. So I think in general, from what I can gather, it was a very small community, so it would have been quite sad at the time, I think, because I think everybody knew each other. And all the research I did on him, he didn't have a bad reputation. He was actually part and parcel of the community, did things in the community. So I think, honestly, he had some kind of meltdown, and I can't, I don't think he was a horrible person, if that makes sense. I don't think he was a drunkard who went out and shot up the town. I think it was a very horrible event that took place, and yeah, and I don't believe for a second that he was pushed out of the window. I really do think he did it himself, because when you read up about him and know that he was probably a pretty upstanding sort of a person, he probably just couldn't live with what happened. And yeah, the injuries he gave himself after jumping were horrendous. He's lucky that he lived for 4 weeks. And and that's the thing. There's, if somebody had pushed him and somebody had wanted him gone, it would have been very, very easy to go back into the hospital when he was in the ICU and simply finish him off. So I don't think for a second that that's what happened. I think he did what he did because he just couldn't live with what he had done. So it's a very sad story. So I hope that going forward, anyone who goes into the hospital speaks to him with respect. And I know we did. We didn't, certainly, when we were there, we tried to get answers in a respectful manner, like why did that happen? What caused you to get so upset? But anyway, so be it. Poor old Mose, he's gone now, as is Garnet, the policeman. Yeah, so, and I managed also obviously to find out what was on each level, which, Cassie, if you're watching, remember when we were on that level 2, and I kept getting a feeling that like it was women, well, that was the women's ward. So there you go. So that's the level 2 was where all the ladies would have been. It was the gynae ward basically, and the birthing ward. So, and I'm pretty sure it was level 2, and level 3 was the surgical ward. Yeah. So there must be. Yeah, I certainly think that the hospital holds something, and when you see episodes coming up from Jason in particular, I don't know if Cassie got any. Cassie, were you filming when what happened in the basement happened with Jason? I can't remember. I know I was, so I've got it, but yeah, but something definitely is in the basement. Don't know what, but something is. I don't know about Cassie, but I didn't get any feelings at all of anything sinister. It was creepy at times, for sure. Yeah, it doesn't matter. You'll find out, Cassie, when you go through your footage. I know I did. I've got it on film from a different angle. Actually, Cassie, I think you were filming for Jason. You had the camera. You filmed Jason's. So I do have it from another angle. So there you go. But yeah, but having said that, I didn't really get a creepy feeling from any of the places I went to. More just, I don't know. I didn't. It might just be me. I don't know. Like I wouldn't necessarily. Uh, I don't know. I might stay. I might. Oh, I don't know. I don't know. I think sometimes you can creep yourself out. Like you can just sort of hear things and then start. It's just the human way, I think. If you hear enough scary stuff, you can sort of make it creepy. But I didn't get that feeling. I sort of, it was a hospital. I don't know. After you work in hospitals, all hospitals can be creepy, especially on night duty. But yeah, so that's kind of that. I don't know. Now again, if anyone is in here listening, I do have a VIP ticket to give away for the Moundsville Penitentiary in Kentucky. I was going to go, but have decided instead to do something else, and impulsive me had already bought the VIP ticket. It wasn't cheap and I can't get a refund. So I'm happy to give it away to anybody that, well, you have to actually go yourself and you have to want to go to Moundsville, but happy to give it to someone who would enjoy going to that. I think it's called Paracon. I don't know. I'm not really familiar with the people that are there. Tanya knows them. Tanya Paranormal Quest, I think they're called. There's a couple of others there that Crow assures me are probably fakers because they've investigated with that Omar person. But the two boys, hang on a second. There you go. Oh, you might have lost me for a second there, guys. Well, if you play for Tanya, well, how about I give you the ticket and you pay for your plane fare and accommodation? Oh, well, it just seems a shame to let it go to waste. If it ends up going to waste, it goes to waste. But yeah, I think it's my internet here. I got the shivers. What do you call it? I don't know, the Elon Musk satellite thing on my roof because I was sick of the normal cable that we've got. So I use that. But every now and then, if it's cloudy, there's a glitch. Don't know why clouds interfere with the satellite, but there you go. Yeah, so, or even if you just know of somebody that might not be in the chat, tell them to go to my community tab on my channel and make a comment there, and we'll see. Starlink, thank you, Indy. That's what I've got, Starlink. It's super fast. It's faster than the regular cable, and it's just the same amount of. Oh, all right, it's $20 more a month, but at least you can have more than one bloody thing connected to it, so it's working. Yeah, thank you, Cassie. Moundsville, West Virginia. It's I wanted to go so badly because the actual prison was used in an episode of a show I love called Mind Hunters, and they filmed there. So I wanted to go there, but it doesn't matter. I'll get to go there one day again, maybe. Who cares? I don't know. But I'm going to Virginia City in probably November. I was going to try and get there for Halloween and spend a Halloween in America. I thought that'd be pretty cool, but I can't. So I'm going to go in November and spend most of November there and leave before it gets too cold. So that's my plan, because there's a couple of things happening in November in Virginia City that I want to be a part of. Oh, I was going to show you this. I don't know. Can you see? Is that the right way? Can you read that? Or is it back to front? It's back to front for me when I look at the screen. Oh, Emily. My Emily's in. Can I have a thumbs up if that's up the right way and you can read it? Anybody? Oh, good. Thanks. So Janice Oberding, I met her when I was in Virginia last time. She's a beautiful lady. She wrote that book. She writes all sorts of books, and I've only just started reading it, but it's got a lot of stories about the different hauntings. And I did notice, and I haven't got to it yet, that she did have one about the Silver Queen. So I hope it's not the story I think it is, but that's okay. But she's a lovely lady. So she is going to be in Virginia City in November. She lives in Reno, so I'm going to go and visit her there too. She's got tons of stories. She writes all sorts of books. So I'm looking forward to seeing her. Yes, Emily, where is she? Where is she gone? Have you subscribed to your own mother's channel yet, little Emily? I think she has. My children won't subscribe to my channel because they say, we keep getting notifications. I'm like, well, if you don't want notifications, just turn it off. Bloody hell. Bloody kids. Ungrateful they are. Oh, dear. So, yeah, so a few things, but that's my plan. So my plan is to go to Virginia City in November, all going well. Spend about 4 weeks there, 3.5 weeks there with my friends. And I'm going to go to a few places I haven't been, and I'm going to see if I can investigate those places now that I'm a little bit more familiar with some of the locals there. Fingers crossed, I might be able to go and just sit for an hour or two and do some investigating. Yeah, so that's the plan. Oh, and Ron and Cassie, if you're listening to me, I've got a friend, Taylor Hamby, and I think most of you may have heard me talk about her before. I'm going to talk to her on Sunday night your time, but not live on here. I've put together my Sutro Tunnel episode, and I want to run through it with her on a live, and I'm going to ask her lots of questions and integrate that interview into my Sutro Tunnel episode, because the Sutro Tunnel is also said to be haunted, as is the old township of Sutro, although most of the old township's way gone. It's just empty land now and a few scattered buildings, but it's really fascinating, like the history of the place, and that Mr. Sutro, yeah, the things he did. So that's what I'm going to put together. I'm working on that. So hopefully once I edit all that, maybe a week away, I'll pop that together. And of course, when I do go there, because Taylor works at the Sutro Tunnel, I'm going to pretty please and go with her to work one day and check out a few of the places while no one's there and see if I get anything. Because there's a lot of properties on there as well that they've bought in that weren't original to the Sutro Township, and I'll talk about them too. But yeah, so I'm going to hang out with Taylor when I'm in Virginia City. My friend Connie, of course. I promised I'll help her clean the Silver Queen rooms again. The things I do on holiday. But yeah, so I'm looking forward to going back, and there's a lot of places there that I really want to go to and look at by myself, quietly sit and see. And I'm going to research them all before I get there, so that I'm, and also now that I know about what happened in the apartment building, I'm pretty sure I'll ask politely. I don't know that I'll get opportunity, because actually Connie, the owner of the Silver Queen, stays in the apartment, but I might just ask if she minds me sitting there and talking out loud to see if I get anything. But that's a big ask because that's her private home. So, and she does live at the Cobb Mansion, but she stays at the B Street apartment most of the time. But that's where it happened. So we'll see. So yeah, so lots of stuff to know now. Well, hopefully anyone who's interested to go to the Silver Queen now, at least you've got some proper details so that if you go there, you can ask the right questions and you might actually get appropriate answers. And it's not to say, like I said, it's not to say that nobody else died there. It's just that it's not documented, which for the day, when you do the research on all these places, back in the day, the journalists of the time, they did a really good job. Like the oddest of things they would report on. So for them not to have reported on, or for there to be no reports whatsoever on certain deaths in any hotel, it's odd. So, and I'm still trying really hard to get more done on the Mackie Mansion as well, because I'm quite fascinated by that. Oh, yeah, my Patreon. Cassie is a member of my Patreon. I just, the only thing I put on Patreon is anything I can't put on here that might have copyright on it, or anything like there's a few things on there that it just aren't, it's just a place to go to look at other stuff that I've done that's not necessarily connected here. Oh, thank you, Indy. You didn't have to. No one has to. It's just there. I just don't know. I've still got a whole heap of stuff that I want to put up, but some of it I can't because it's got other people in it, or it's got copyright music in the background, which happened with one of my LA trip, and I thought, oh. So I just stuck it up there. So we'll see how that goes. You don't have to. What else? Let me see. Anything else? Anybody else want to know anything? I've got a head full of information. I've got a head full. I'm wondering actually how long it takes till certain people get cranky. Oh, see, I'm off the subject again. That's what I wanted to talk to you about, the Sally House. So the other night I watched an episode of Sam and Colby, I think that's what they're called, or Kobe, or if Emily's still here, she'll know who they're called. It's Sam and someone, Sam and Kobe or Cody, or I don't know. Full on sort of edited crap. But anyway, I watched it because they went to the Sally House, and I will give them. I didn't watch the whole episode, by the way, because it was too much. But I'll give them credit where credit was due. That they met, which made me laugh. So they got shown the place. So they're talking about going to the Sally House, and they meet up with the person from the Chamber of Commerce. That's where she said she was from. Chamber of Commerce, who let them into the building. Well, all I can say is, what a load of shit. This woman, whoever she was, name, honest to God, she comes in, oh, I see Sally all the time. I'm like, do you really see Sally all the time? And then she talked about the little girl Sally, who was died in the house when the doctor operated on her, and it was a botched operation, and he got out there. She told the whole story, and then the boys said, is there any proof of that? Is there any documented, like, is that, oh, no, there's no proof that it happened. And then the boys, to their credit, said that generally when they go to anywhere to investigate, they concentrate solely on what is documented and provable in order to do their investigation. So I'll give him some credit. No, I don't know. I didn't watch it because I thought, I don't want to see him say I got scratched by a demon. I didn't watch. I just saw the start, and I thought, well, no wonder people think that the Sally story is true, because if you go in there and you've got the person from the friggin' Crow's episode premieres in 30 minutes, so I'll get off soon. But if you go in there and you've got the people from the freaking Chamber of Commerce saying that the Sally thing happened, and you don't know any different, to ask the question, well, is it documented? So anyway, she cracked on about that for about freaking a few minutes. And I just thought, He never friggin' lived in the house when he was a doctor. He never lived in the house. His house was next door. There was no cell he operated on in the house that died. It didn't happen. And then I actually looked at an old interview of the Pickerings, the people who said that all this stuff happened. I watched an old interview of theirs. I'm just sad that people go into these places and make up BS for whatever reason. Now, I'm not saying, I've got to be careful, I suppose. I'm not saying that they're liars and that didn't happen. But it's interesting to me that there was a beautiful old lady, lived in the house for years, very recluse, kept to herself, but she was a nana, she was a grandma, she lived there. It was they who said that she practiced demonic type things and that it was her responsible for the pentagram on the floor in the basement. No, sorry. No. I think if one were to take a guess, one would think that if any pentagram existed, which apparently it did because they painted over it or something, if it existed, I dare say someone put it there that wanted to make some money from whatever. And I'll be careful what I say. My personal opinion, conspiracy theory, or whatever, I just think it's a load of crap. So my opinion on the Sally house stands. I think it was a house that the Finneys lived in. It should be called the Finney house, not the Sally house. And people who continue to talk about the doctor operating on the little girl in the house should be shot. Actually, I should be careful what I say because I've said that before and people think I'm saying actually shoot them. But in Australia, you should be shot means that it's a saying. Oh my God. I got barred off of Facebook once for saying that in a comment. But in Australia, it doesn't mean you shoot someone. It means you should be smacked across the head. Oh, I'm ranting now. Hey, Stephanie, yeah, and I'm going to go soon too because Crow does have an episode coming up shortly, and I love to support my Crow. And I'm just ranting now anyway. It's another Karen rant. But yes, the Sally house, no wonder people think that it's all what it is because people who show you through the house tell the same story and talk about seeing her. Oh, I've seen her. She smiles at me. What? Well, I don't know what drugs they're on. But anyway, I would have liked to have gotten to the Sally house and I still may well one day. Thanks, Wendy. I did research, so I'm very passionate about the Sally house. If I were a millionaire, I'd offer him money and I'd buy the freaking place. I'd fair dinkum wood. I'd put a big sign out the front that says the Finney residence, and I'd bar anybody who walked in there and tried to summon up a demon. I do think, though, if you went in there, given who passed away in the house, mostly Finneys, it could well be haunted. I mean, it probably could be, but I would dare say by the Finneys, because a lot of them passed away in the house. Let's see. Yeah, I know. And I think that's the same with most of these places. They've got to make the dollar. So if they stick to, it was a lovely family who lived here and maybe they haunted, maybe that's just not as exciting as there's a devil or a demon called Sally and watch out, she scratches you. But, hey, Crow, I'm getting off soon, sweetie, because your episode starts in a minute or two. I've just been ranting anyway, a Karen rant on people who tell fibs. And like I say, it's only my opinion. For all I know, I could be wrong. I just have done the research, that's all. Oh, and who was it? I can't remember who was in my live the other day and told me about Amy's crypt that went to the Sally house and the Villisca axe murderer's house. So I went in to watch Amy's Crypt episodes. I think the way they make their episode is interesting. They film well. They present well. Their style is fine. But the research is lacking. and they were trying to connect the Villisca Axe Murderer house, because it's number 508 in the North Street. They were trying to connect it to the Sally house, which is 508 North Street in Atchison. Honestly, that's the only freaking connection. Same house number. Oh my God. Anyway, so yes, and they very much concentrate on the demon Sally in that episode of the Sally house. I couldn't watch the episode. I'm sorry, because it was just, having the house number, Wendy. That's like Wendy, if you live at 95 and I live at 95, that all of a sudden, somehow, mystically, we've got a connection. Like, duh. There's plenty of North Streets, for goodness sakes. North Streets are everywhere. Like, America's full of northeast streets. Like, that's just how they name their streets. 508. Whoop, whoop. Like, how can anything be connected, for God's sakes? But anyway, so yeah, I'm afraid I can't watch that. I did leave. I couldn't help myself. I left a comment on one of their episodes and just said, guys, I like your style. I was polite. I said, I like your style, but you need to do more research. And I said, there's, the doctor didn't live in the Sally house and murder anybody. He did live there. Let me correct that. Charlie did live in the Sally house when he was young, until he went off to school to become a doctor. And when he returned, he'd built his house next door to the Sally house. So he didn't even live in the freaking Sally house when he was a doctor. So it's a bit hard to operate and kill someone when you don't live in the house. Conspiracy theory, my opinion. Yeah, if we all live at a number 95, we're all connected. Yeah, well, there you go. Watch out, Wendy. 508 2nd in Philly. Is there a demon in his basement? Do you see my point? It does my head in when someone's actually got a reason, when there's people out in this world who are investigating the paranormal to prove something, to prove that there's life after death, basically, that when we die, we might possibly be able to come back and visit or stay somewhere that we once loved. That's what I'm trying to prove. And I think Cassie is. And I think even Crow and anyone else that does it, we're trying to prove that we can communicate with the dead on a certain level. So when people go into these places and make up rubbish to make money, it saddens me a little bit, because it takes away from the genuine people. And I think that's just going to be an ongoing problem. I just don't think anybody's ever going to get anywhere if they watch programs like that rely fully on what they're told when they go into a place. And yes, Pocket Watch, that is what I said to Amy's Crypt. I don't mind how they put their episodes together. The way they film it, they look like lovely people. I'm not going off about them in particular. I'm just saying that they've gone full steam ahead into the Sally house with the demon look to it, and even saying that demon that's in the Sally house is in the Axe murderer's house. I'm like, and as I've said, if they were shown through by the Chamber of Commerce person that I saw on the Sam and Cody episode, and they don't research, which is kind of evident that they don't do their own research, they just go with what they're told. I don't know. I don't know what to say. I'm disappointed. I don't think anyone's going to haunt your son, Wendy. What else? Where's Daniel? I missed him. Are you in here, Daniel? Love you, Daniel. Yes, I've been having a rant. I've been ranting on but this is what happens when no one's here to talk to me and keep me in check, except in the chat. It's Karen's rant. How are we going for time? I think, there you are. There you are, Daniel. Yeah, demons are a cash cow, even fake demons. And it's a shame, because if demons exist, they're very far and few between. Oh, why are you going, Foxfire? Don't go. That's all right. I've been ranting too long. I'm a ranter. I'll talk to you all again soon anyway. And Daniel, if you haven't had a chance, actually, did you have a chance, Daniel, to see my not Sally House, God, my Silver Queen episode? I'd like to know. You can message me later. I'd like to know what you think of it. And today was the old hospital on College Hill. Goodbye, Foxfire. Thank you. I'll talk to you soon, I'm sure. So yes, so there you go. I don't know. I think I've finished my rant. My head hurts now. Do you see how my brain works? What I'll be talking about one thing and then that's what it's like having a conversation with me. Well, Daniel, that's just not good enough. But let me know what you think when you get to watch them. They're not long episodes. But yeah, my aim is just what it is, to find these places, research them to the best I can. If I can't find documented proof of something, it doesn't mean it didn't happen. But, well, I don't know. It doesn't mean it didn't happen. It just means that, it probably didn't. Daniel is Bay Area Ghost, Wendy. He's changed his name. I rather like that, Bay Area. It sounds, I don't know, sounds pretty. Bay Area Ghost, but yeah, that's Daniel. Yeah, I just Pocket Watch is saying that they do research. Well, it's not really research if you're not researching it. If you're just going to a place, talking to someone that shows you through, and that's what you base your episode on, that's not research. That's nowhere near it. Which is why it's disappointing when they're doing these episodes. People watching with no idea watch and think, oh my God, that's astonishing. Oh, look at that connection. Like, oh, it is related to the house. And it's sad because it's not. And it's just tricking people. Well, Daniel's just saying sometimes documented stories don't prove anything. The only thing it does prove, Daniel, is that it was a documented death. It doesn't mean that documented occurrence is what's haunting a place or anything like that. Much like the old College Hospital on the Hill with Mose Blackburn. It's documented. It happened. Did it happen the way some say? I don't think so. I don't think he was pushed from a window. I think he did do that. But when you look into that man himself, he was a good man. A circumstance happened and he did a bad thing, and I think he couldn't live with that. But it's a hospital. Thousands of people have died in it. So it could be anybody. So just because there's a documented death that people concentrate on, it's a good idea to concentrate on it, I suppose, because if anybody was going to be there, it might be him, but it could be anybody. The legends, watch my Silver Queen, because Rose in the bathtub, that's a legend. It's not documented. There is no documentation anywhere I could find. If anybody's got it, I'd love to see it, but I could find no documented proof that story of Rose and the bathtub ever actually happened. And as I touch on in my episodes, because there was no bath in room 11 when it was said to have happened, there were no bathrooms in the hotel until the 1990s. So bit hard to do yourself away in a bathtub if there's no bathtub to do it in. Well, exactly, Wendy. Even the house that you grew up in, 1760, I'll guarantee people died in it because nobody went to hospitals back in the day. You died at home. There were no hospitals. There were madhouses. But yeah, and there were hospitals in the 1800s, but again, it wasn't like even my grandmother died in her home in Collingwood in Victoria, because that's what you did. If you were very, very sick and you were in a hospital being treated for something and you died in the hospital under treatment, that's a different thing. But most people died at home. So a housemaid in the 1760s, crikey, for sure. That would have been a nice house to research and find out who lived there back in the day, just to know the history of the house. Yes, Cheryl, I better go too. 15 minutes until young Crow comes on and I'll need a coffee. Oh, yeah, Daniel, Julia Butte. I've done a bit of research on that. I'm still working on that, and I'm talking to my friend Taylor. And I've talked to a lot of locals in Virginia City. It is suspected she's buried exactly where they said she is, where you can see her up on the mountain. The story about the mortician, probably not true. Excuse me, because when I've got a whole thing on her actual burial and where that took place, and there was a big parade for her because the fireman gave her a fireman's, like, she was honoured by the fire department. There's a whole story behind Julia, and I'll do that. But she is probably buried where she is supposed to be buried. Unfortunately, the story is at the moment that there's no, they're not, the fencing and stuff around that is sort of, it's hard to get to. Why they took her all the way out there is sad, but it was something to do with the time of anyway, I'll do an episode on that one, okay? Because Taylor knows all about it. I do have some documents that I've been able to find from that time period. So I do think she is buried where they say she is buried. It's just a shame she is. They should go dig her up and put her in town. But her house no longer stands, of course. That's been demolished years ago, but I know where that is. Yeah, but also, Daniel, when I go back to Virginia City, that's mostly what I'm going to concentrate on looking at too, and see if I can get out there. I'd love to get out there. But apparently I'm told it's hard to get to. So we'll see how we go. I'll be there for nearly 4 weeks. So in that 4 weeks time, I want to try to get out there. I think I'm just in love with Virginia City. Oh, I know they didn't want her there. No prostitute was ever allowed to be buried in the main cemetery. It was back in the day. That's how they were. But yeah, you were allowed to use a prostitute, but God forbid she'd be buried in the same cemetery as you. So they'd often, yes, either put them in a completely separate area of the cemetery or on a completely different hill. That's happened in quite a few places where there'd be a completely separate area for people like that. All right, people, it is 10 to 11 and Crow has his episode coming up in 10 minutes. So I am going to bid you adieu. Sorry I ranted for so long. I tend to do that when I'm by myself. This is good therapy, though. It gets it all off my chest and you're all here to listen. So as I say, I'm not calling anyone liars. I'm just saying in the research I've done, most of what I hear for these places is not documented, flawed in a lot of different ways. And yeah. Love you, Tanya. I'll see you no doubt in Crow's live chat. And Daniel, probably you too. And yeah, I'm looking forward to Crow's episode this morning. And that's all. And Ron and the kids, if you're still watching, bye. And I don't think my daughter's still in the chat. And my other daughter and her friends didn't come. Little buggers, but that's all right. I forgot to invite them. So it's a bit hard to come to a live chat when I forget things. Oh, thanks, Wendy. Thanks. I'm making more. I've already worked on another bobblehead, Wendy. Wendy did point out to me that she was missing my bobbleheads. So I made her a bobblehead for the Silver Queen one, wasn't it? Bobblehead. There was animation in the one that was just up. Yeah, I did put animation in that one. And I'm working on another animation now. Actually, I've finished it, but I've got to just finalize the editing. There you go. Oh, thanks, Pocket Watch. I'm full of opinions. Ask anybody. Anyway, I love you all. So thank you so much for coming into the live today. And thank you, honestly, for watching my episode this morning. If you didn't watch it, let me know. And again, remember that I'm giving away a ticket to the Paracon in Moundsville, West Virginia, at the penitentiary there for the 9th of September. So if anyone lives near Moundsville, I have a ticket, I only have one because it was for me, a VIP ticket for the Moundsville, I think it's called Paracon. It's in my community tab anyway. I've put a link to it. So if anybody really wants to go to that and you want a ticket to it, it was expensive. I can't get my money back. So you are more than welcome to it. If I would love to gift it to somebody who would like to go. So that's that. And I'm off. And I'll see you again probably next week for another rant as usual. Love to you all. See you later. Bye, everybody.